Welcome to Evil Live, the live media commentary show that answers the question, was the elk girl ever real? Subscribe if you're new to the channel because today we are reviewing The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones. I would not have known about this if it wasn't for my co-host today. Cameron, how you doing, man?
I'm doing fan-fucking-tastic, and I cannot wait to talk about this being one of my all-time favorite books.
Understandable after having read it, why it
I
will
have thrown this book at so many fucking people over the years. It's like, oh, you like horror? Here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just fucking solid, and it's probably one of the only books that still will get under my skin every fucking time I read it.
So my initial thoughts of this book are, I can't tell if this is real or not. I feel like there's a universe where this actually happened, you know? Like in my mind, I feel like this is not so far out of reality. If things were just slightly different in perspective, everything in this is actually, which speaks to the honesty in the storytelling. The author really went hard in trying to be true to the Blackfeet Nation and the life on the res and the sort of lore and legends of the people. I mean, I just feel like, and you're going to have to tell me if it's any more accurate than that, but like it just feels real. And then you throw in those horror elements, and I'm like, but I could still see that being real. So I can't tell if I'm just watched way too much horror in my life and that I can just see this is like happening, or if I'm like way out of left field on it. But like, do you feel like this is like that far from reality?
Not really. Especially like having spent time on, the res as it was. Now, let's just throw this out there from the fucking beginning. I'm not Blackfoot, Blackfeet, whatever. I'm Navajo. Completely different kind of Indian. That's like being like, oh, you're Irish, clearly you know shit about Russia.
Right.
Like, there's different kinds of whites, there's different kinds of Indians. So I'm coming at this from pretty much the same perspective as everybody else, with the exception of, there's a lot of stories, a lot of folklore around, different tribes and stuff. When you're in the homeland, as it were, you may or may not experience some shit. Like, one thing that's really prevalent in Navajo mythology and stuff is, skinwalkers. So, you got your fucking Yannis and shit. That's a fucking reality. Like, you will see some shit. Like, you're driving down the fucking freeway or the highway and shit, cutting through the res. You see this nice little grandma walking down the road. You think, okay, maybe I should stop and pick her up, but maybe I shouldn't. You turn around, you see some shit in your mirror that wasn't fucking there just a second ago. Then you turn around, that shit's gone. You're like, fuck this shit. You floor it. Like, that's sort of the perspective I'm bringing to this. Like, this is a fucking story, plain and simple. Stephen Graham Jones even goes into like the afterword talking about how none of this is based off of anything real in Blackfoot mythology that he's aware of, but it feels so real, it feels so lived in that it could be real.
Yeah. And I think that's what I love so much about it is there's an air of authenticity because of who wrote it and how the care they took in writing it. And just the narrative is told so wonderfully terrifying. And then it's wrapped up in such a brilliantly heart-wrenching, for me, I was totally moved by the ending of it. So Stephen Graham Jones wrote it. This was released originally by Saga Press, July 14th in 2020, and it's since been released by other presses and, reprints and audio and everything. So it sort of says that he uses his characters and his novel to pay tribute to his culture, practices in the life of the reservation, all while tackling some of the themes like leaving reservation, marriage to a white woman, representation in sports, and addiction. And I hate that I say that I loved it, but I appreciate the title now that I know the reference.
That's funny, you didn't know that?
No, I
Oh,
never
man.
made the connection until I looked at that.
So when I first heard about this book, I laughed my ass off. I was like, this better have been written by a fucking Indian dude, because if not, this is fucked up.
Yeah.
And then, of course, find out it was done by who it was done by, and I was like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, I'll check this shit out. Because yeah,
Yeah, I
everybody
know. I
knows the
do.
only good Indian is a dead Indian.
Yeah, so that was sort of General Philip Sheridan's first use in 1860s in referencing how they literally are trying to exterminate the Native Americans. It seems like entirely. Like their
Mhm.
goal was to fully genocidally exterminate the First Nation people.
Oh well, of course, because it manifests destiny and all that bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, and we've talked about maybe even on this channel when reviewing some of the reservation dog stuff about the horrors that I'm going to blanket statement just say white culture enacted onto First Nation peoples, and it hasn't really stopped, like,
Nope,
which
nope.
is
It's still
surprising.
consistently happening.
It's just insane,
Well, that's the thing is it's real easy to rewrite history when the opposing voice is silenced.
right? Yeah, 100%, 100%. So let's just sort of talk about the setup and then some scenes that we really liked about this book and stuff. Chris, if you haven't read this yet, do yourself a favor. You're gonna dig it.
Yeah. So, and especially like if you're a fan of audiobooks, I believe there's only one version of this.
Oh, it's great.
It is fucking fantastic. Like the narrator is so perfect about making you feel exactly where you're supposed to be.
Hmm.
And then the afterword being read by Stephen Graham Jones just really wraps it up really well. Even gets you kind of teary eyed in some spots.
Yeah.
Like it's fucking beautiful.
Um, it all is based around the basic idea of a group of friends going and hunting this massive group of elk that they're not supposed to be hunting in the area,
Hmm.
and they slaughter the entire group. They find one of them that isn't dead, and like I'm trying to remember. I think at one point they like either shot the top of the head off.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it
She
was
got
just
popped.
brutally gore.
Yeah, she got popped 3 times. So basically, Lewis was the one that dropped her out of the 4 friends, and it shot her in the back. She went down. She's still chirping. She's still screaming, just trying to fight. He goes up. He's freaking the fuck out. He pops her in the top of the head. Back of her head blows off, and she is still struggling. And he is losing shit, like freaking the fuck out, like crying and praying to her essentially that she'll
Yeah.
fucking die. And he's like, if you die, I will make sure that this was not a vain death. I will use every aspect of you. Just please, please die.
Yeah. And I think this speaks to hunter culture that people who have never been engaged in it or around it don't understand.
Hmm.
And I've never met a hunter, and I lived in Salem, Utah, which is a huge hunting community. I've always like my wife's family are they're hunters. I mean, I've always been around it. I've never hunted myself, but every single hunter actually really cares about clean kills and
Hmm.
that they're doing something good. Not just are they providing food for themselves or their family or their community, but they're actually taking care to because we as human beings have slaughtered all the natural predators of deer and elk. And so without something to stop them from growing exponentially, which they do, they will destroy the entire environment. And so you
Hmm.
have to hunt to make sure that you keep the quantities low so that the other creatures can exist in an ecosystem.
Right.
So you're
Well,
actually
plus the
doing
other
a
issue
good
is like
thing.
they will die. Like
Yeah.
they will go out. Like because there's too many people. They fuck or too many creatures. They starve.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's fucking rough. Like it is population control, but not in some creepy, scary eugenics type of way.
Right. And so, like, people often think of hunters as like these monsters that are just killing people, like killing Bambi. But even here, even when Lewis is face to face with this thing, he's like, please fucking die. I don't want
Hmm.
you to suffer. Like, they came in, they know they're not supposed to be hunting here. They know
Hmm.
they found this perfect little spot to kill all these animals, but they're going to use it all. At least
Hmm.
that's sort of the plan in their heads. And then, like, wasn't this deer pregnant?
Elk, yeah, the
Elk,
elk was
right?
pregnant. So that's what ends up happening is like as he's dressing her, he fucking guts her up the center and 2 ginormous mammary glands just pop out.
Oh,
He freaks the fuck out. And by the time he gets inside, there's a calf wriggling and shit.
Oh,
And that's when the realization hits him that she wasn't fighting to stay alive. She was fighting to stay alive for her calf. And that's why it was so hard. And especially with it being out of, season, like she was a young mother to begin with. Like she should not, by any accounts, have been pregnant with that calf. But it haunts him so much that he becomes vegetarian after that.
yeah, and he loses his fucking mind.
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
like it really affects him. And I love the point where he starts to put together the sort of insanity. His dog dies. He finds boots, and like the dog was stomped to death. Cops show up, and there's this great moment where he's like, I can't act a certain way around these cops, or else they're
Mhm.
going to try to kill me, or like
Yeah.
this is just how cops act around certain communities. And
Mhm.
it's so fucked up, but it's real. And the problem is that the cops may even be part of that community and they're still going to act.
That's the problem. And this is, speaking from experience, I'm not talking shit in case you're listening. But the second you have that badge, you're not red, you're not brown, white, you're fucking blue.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a completely different thing.
Yep.
Like I may or may not have a cousin, and it's very much like he's not Indian, he's a cop.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's one of the reasons why I have met a small handful of nice police officers, but
Mhm.
it's rare and it's the exception. Almost every interaction I have ever had, and I haven't had a ton, but I've had a fair number, they're fucking cunts. Intentionally. Like they
Mhm.
feel empowered to be cunts. Like
Yeah.
you are below me, even though they're literally our servants
Yeah, it's
by
like we
definition.
pay your fucking paycheck.
But
Yeah, no, I'll agree with that. I mean, it's so I'm kind of like I'm in a weird position because
yeah,
we get a lot of cops that come see us because, cops like tattoos as well.
yep,
The ones that come in are cool as shit. It's the ones that you have to call that
right.
aren't always the greatest. Like, I mean, luckily my area, most of them, but like where I grew up, there was a time I got fucking shot at and I called the cops to report a fucking shooting. And the cop showed up. He started taking some notes, and then we're not even halfway through the story. He puts his shit in his pocket, folds his arms, just sitting there nodding while we finish. Then it's like, cool, man. So do you want the address? It's like, we know who the fuck shot at us. And yeah, we proceeded to get scolded. And he said if he had to come back out, he'd arrest both of us for being stoned and being ignorant little cunts. And I was like, oh,
Wow.
cool. You see my guitar amp over there that's got the bullet hole in it? We're not lying. Yeah. That's why I stopped trusting cops.
Yeah, dude, it's frustrating. I was stationed in Fort Knox, Kentucky, and our storage unit was broken into, and we had a bunch of our stuff stolen. And so we reported it. My wife and I reported it to the police, and they put us in separate interrogation rooms. And they were like, "Okay, if you're lying to us, you can go to jail." And we're like, "What the fuck are you talking about? Like, we're the victims here. My shit. I'm a soldier.
Right?
Like, I'm a fucking soldier. I had my shit stolen out of a civilian storage unit.
Mhm.
Why the fuck am I being interrogated? What did I do?" Like,
Right.
and we still didn't get the shit at all. It was just, and they have cameras, and they're like, "Well, we reviewed the footage, and we didn't see anything." I'm like, "Well, our shit's still gone, so
Yeah.
aliens?" Like,
You know what? That's probably what it was. It was a government conspiracy to cover the aliens wanted your undies.
I lost a lot of good CDs and a good stereo. Damn
Oh,
it.
well, that's fucked up. That's bullshit.
I was so angry. Okay, so anyway, this gets to a point. I mean, we get a lot of atmospheric moments. The police
Mhm.
interaction was one of them, which I thought was really, really interesting. But we open straight up with a guy named Ricky being beaten to death uh,
Yeah.
by a bunch of white dudes because some rando elk is like stumbling into their cars and they see him out there, and so they just assume it's him or something.
Well, to be fair, he did destroy some of the cars because he was going after the elk to fucking kill it, with a stick or a tire iron or something. So it's like all the fucking dudes from the bar come out, see some Indians swinging around at their trucks. Yeah, they're gonna fuck his shit up.
Yeah. Like before it got to that point, there was some sort of lines in the beginning, and I'm just going off of memory, so I'm probably gonna like slaughter them. But they're like, um, it's inevitable that fights will break out. You know, like when you add alcohol in a bar and Native American, like this stuff is going to happen, and it just paints this picture of a violent culture, not necessarily directly because of who they are. That they're acting violently because of who they are, but because it's just part of the life that they live. Like this is just
Yeah.
a natural reaction to how they have. I don't even know how to phrase it right because I feel like I'm tiptoeing around it for some reason. I feel like I'm trying to be like PC
No,
or
I mean
something.
you're I was gonna say you're putting it pretty well. I mean, and you don't gotta say fucking Native American. They even make mention of that shit in this book.
Right. Yeah.
Like you know, it's for the young kids these days we're Native Americans, but it's like I was born an Indian, I'll die an Indian.
Yeah.
It's like 1 little, 2 little, 3 little. Native American just doesn't roll off the tongue, as per the book.
Yep.
And I agree. I agree.
Yeah. But it's just interesting that they're framing this lifestyle that almost anyone can connect with if they've lived anywhere outside of a gated community.
Mhm. Yeah, no, 100%. That's the thing is it is very relatable.
Yeah.
Like even if you aren't this specific type of minority, there's a big chance that you're a minority of some sort that has been out of your element.
Yeah. And I love that part of it. And so I'm immediately drawn in because I'm like, oh shit, yeah, I've been jumped. Like, I understand. I lived. Surprise.
Yeah. Thank God. I was holding my breath waiting to hear that story.
I'm a ghost. Psych. But okay, so then Lewis ends up marrying a white girl, and he's living off of the res, and they're like having relationship turmoil, right? Or she
No.
was like out when the
Nope.
animal got beat.
Okay, so basically what happens is he's she's at work, so she's basically the breadwinner. He's a grunt for the postal service. He's at home, he's trying to fix or figure out how to fix this light that just randomly goes on and off, which funny enough is a part of reality because the writer lived in a place that was similar to that and it drove him insane. But yeah, so he's up there trying to fix it and he sees a fucking elk walk through his room and he freaks the fuck out. He almost falls and dies. Like luckily all he does is he puts a hole in the fucking wall. But that becomes his obsession where he needs to figure out what the fuck created it. So PETA, his wife, comes home and he's convinced that hopefully somehow her shadow and her carrying the bags created that image of the elk. So pretty much he goes on an obsessive case of trying to recreate that. Because there's no way he actually saw that because the guilt has stayed with him for all these years. Where it's coming up on the 10-year anniversary Thanksgiving Classic. And yeah, it's just like he loses his mind over that shit.
He obsesses over it so much that I really feel like he's just going insane. I feel like that's
100%.
the horror element of this novel. And
it's definitely one of them. Like that's that's like the huge centerpiece of it is, and until you read it, like finish it, I almost feel like you don't know.
Yeah.
Even though you know with the last three, the last two that get killed. But yeah, like, I mean, when we were talking about it, personally, like that was the thing. It's like, it almost seems like this isn't reality. And then you find out it is. And then upon subsequent readings, it becomes more and more concrete and real. It's quite fun.
So as he's slowly descending into madness, he starts taking on monstrous behavior that he is sort of ascribing to this elk woman. The beating of the dog, he ends up murdering two women, and like he's convinced that they're elk women, and he's like pulling their fucking teeth out
Mhm.
to prove that they're elk women. And like actually one's pregnant, and he like cuts it open, and wasn't there like an elk baby in it?
Yes. Yeah. So basically, the whole reason, if you guys don't know, mature elk have teeth that are ivory because at one point, thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago, their ancestors had tusks. But so he has it in his head because he keeps getting told through essentially visions and dreams that they are the elk-headed woman, and they're here to take their revenge on him. But the way to figure that out is to pull out their ivory because obviously they have ivory. That was really not the person he thought they were, and then the curse is over. But yeah, so the calf that he cuts out is actually his kid, which is perfect because the whole time prior to that, Elkhead Woman is a spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no actual like physical manifestation of her. She's just kind of there. Like she can affect the natural world. So his dog that she killed, he hung himself. That's how a lot of his friends found out about it, including the first person he murders. Like they're going over to see the amazing flying dog. He hangs himself. He's chilling in the garage. There's like this much room with the garage open, and so it's a mystery as to how he got stomped to death. And that's where he starts to first consider that it's PETA. And then she goes to work, and then he thinks it's other homegirl, which I'm forgetting her name right now. But yeah, like he
Shaney.
brutally, yeah, Shaney. There we go. Like he brutally fucking murders her.
Yeah.
And I would almost say it's even worse what he does to his wife, because like his wife he could have saved,
Yeah.
but instead he watched her fall to her death. All because he knew that she was athletic enough to do everything to save herself. But the one thing she didn't do was protect her fall. So
Mm-hmm.
snaps her fucking neck, splits her head open, and then he fucking fillets her. And guess what? There's his unborn child as an elk calf.
So fucked up.
Yeah.
So at this point, I'm like, okay, he's insane. That's what the hook is. I
Yeah.
understand. I understand this world now. I'm here for it. I get it. And then sort of Cass and Gabe, who are still on the reservation, they're preparing for some sort of sweat lodge. And Gabe is an alcoholic absentee father, and he stops to see his daughter Denora. And this is the only thing that I felt was weird because Denora pops in briefly here. They talk about how she's a great basketball player, and then she disappears from the story until the very end, the third act, in which suddenly she's the focus. And
Well,
I'm like,
sort of.
what the fuck?
She comes and goes throughout it, because like she's brought up initially because as Elkhead Woman grows, she starts to take on looking like Denora, and even stole some of like Denora's clothes and shit. So that's why it keeps kind of going back and forth with her in the beginning.
Okay.
So it's like the seed is there. That's why Gabe's like, God, am I a fucking bad father for not stopping? But she wouldn't have been skipping school because that meant she couldn't play.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So when they're at the sweat lodge, Victor's attacked by the elk spirit. I'm sort of looking through the synopsis here that I'm referencing.
Yeah, so Victor is the local cop,
Mhm.
and it's his kid that is fucking up. Like basically, his kid's friend died of an overdose. At least I'm pretty sure that's what it was. And his kid ended up running the fuck away. Like Nathan's like, nope, fuck this place. I'm out of here. And as sort of punishment / healing, like his dad hits up Cass and Gabe to be like, hey, here's $100. You want to give my kid a sweat? Try to bring him back to the old ways.
Right.
So that's why Victor's there, and yeah, he gets his ass handed to him.
It's just like one person is dying by this spirit by the next. And one of the ways that it's sort of understood that she's coming back is because he made that promise that he would use all parts of her. And then he's like, oh, but there's a one piece at the back of the freezer that after it just sort of gets stuck and then you forget about it. And that's why she's come back, because there's that one piece of her left. And in my
Well,
mind, I think that's ridiculous. I think it's just the fact that they did something they knew was
mhm,
wrong, and so it's coming back to haunt their actions and stuff.
yeah. Well, and that's alluded to that it's more so their actions
Yeah.
versus his promise being broken. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, even if that wasn't the case, because what happened was they didn't have stickers to mark the meat, so they used one of the sisters' stickers, and it was raccoon paws. So like, unless somebody who got that meat and knew what that meat was, like nobody's gonna take that and throw it in their hamburger, because for all they know, it could be raccoon meat.
Yeah.
But ultimately, like even if that was the case, like all of that could have been used, could have been taken care of. He still had her fucking hide rolled up in a garbage bag in the freezer and
Yeah.
did nothing with it. So it's like, if nothing else, he's the reason the curse hit him.
Mhm.
But I mean, realistically, the curse is there because they fucked up.
Right. I love the way they personify the curse at the very end too, where it's like this is a repeated behavior.
Mhm.
All you have to do is just stop the behavior, and the curse goes away. Just stop punishing. Uh, in this particular case, it would be the elk, um, at the end, but it's that traumatic behavior is learned, and
Mhm.
so that's why you see like people who molest were molested almost always. People who abuse physically have been abused. Um, people that sort of gaslight have been gaslit. I mean, it's just it's not always the case, but it is definitely a pattern that people
Yeah.
fall through in life, and that's what this is, sort of presenting as. This curse is a pattern due to behavior that, wrong behavior that had happened. All we have to do is just fucking stop, and the trauma
Mhm.
can go away. And I think there's just something so simple and beautiful about that, especially from a minority's perspective, because all you want to do is deservedly strike back at those who have hurt or subjugated or demeaned or dehumanized you. Um, but that will never fix the problem. That will only exacerbate the problem.
Mhm.
But you also don't just want to sit down and take it, and so you just feel helpless in some cases. Um, and I just loved the ending of this because it felt like they actually took ownership and took power away from Elk Woman and allowed her to live inside. So we'll get to that in a second. But
Yeah.
another really great scene that I thought was just stunning and I didn't see coming was that final basketball game between Denora
Yeah.
and Shaney, who was actually fucking Elk Woman.
Yeah.
Totally fucked me up when it made the reveal because I was just like, oh, this is just one bitch against another fucking bitch. But
Yeah, it's like just out of nowhere, the fucking homegirl's cousin is there for
right,
some reason. Yeah.
but it did feel like because a lot of this is they're talking about, oh, they're Crow, or I'm one tribe, they're another tribe, and there's this sort of animosity between different tribal peoples, or
So to be fair, there's a pretty good reason the Blackfeet and Northern Cheyenne and Arapaho, basically there's a lot of tribes from that area historically hate the Crow, and that's because the Crow helped with Custer's shit. Like they sold out their own people.
yeah,
So there's a reason for this behavior and this animosity.
right. But having it play through till
Yeah.
today, it feels like
Dude, I am telling you right now, like
yeah,
my dad, before him and his wife moved home, they on the Crow Nation. Yeah, that's still a fucking reality today.
wow.
Like, there's some bitter motherfuckers up there.
Yeah, I get tongue in cheek shit being a Campbell in Scottish, group like circles, like
Mhm.
Scottish heritage organizations. There's always someone who's like, "Oh, you're a Campbell. You did bad things." I'm just like, dude, that wasn't me. That's not you. Fuck off.
Yeah, right.
Like, grow the fuck up. So I get the cultural side of it, but my point was that it ties in so beautifully to the theme of this that you just got to let shit go. You
Mhm.
can't keep holding on to repeated behavior because it's only going to keep you where you are, where you're unhappy, where you're
Yeah.
unhealthy. Um, and my interpretation of reflecting on this was very much including that idea of
Oh yeah,
we're
100%.
we're in our own tribes and we have animosity to each other's tribes, and that sort of pattern of turning against each other, when the whole fucking country seems to be against you already. It's nonsensical. But
Yeah.
it is life. We're
Yeah,
tribal
yeah.
peoples.
Denora is like the perfect avatar for that. Like, and it's so beautifully done too that it's not like so blatantly in your face. Like, she is the Indian Jesus, where she's the one that's healing all the people. Like, just talking about like, 4 years down the road, she has a fucking basketball game where she loses some crows, and
Hmm.
she does some old Blackfoot sign language that she learned as a kid that just really stuck, and now there's posters of her and blah blah blah. It's so it's not even subtle, but it's
Hmm.
so well written that you don't go like, oh, message. No, you're like, this is a great fucking way to end this, and it's upon reflection that you're like, damn, that was heavy. That was
Yeah.
some shit.
Yeah, it's so good. But then seeing that game and the elk woman literally transforming during the game
Hmm.
into the elk woman, and then it becomes like this final girl chase
Oh
sequence,
yeah.
which was terrifying to read. There's some really horrific moments. Mostly I was really, really interested, just in discovering this whole universe. But
Hmm.
that end run chase sequence, I was just like, oh, this is bread and butter to me. This
Oh
is
yeah.
just every slasher movie ending ever.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
this
Well,
is great.
especially when she's standing there, like not even moving, and she's seeing Elkhead Woman's feet just there, not doing a fucking thing. And it's like, oh my God, what the fuck is happening? She's gonna get me. I literally can't run anymore. I don't have it in me.
Yeah.
My third win was like 500 fucking feet ago.
Oh, so
And then the
good.
realization of like, oh, because elk are scared of trains. Duh. Yeah, it's so goddamn
Eventually, she stumbles to the massacre site that her father and their friends started this whole curse in, and that's where things just get fucking bananas. I mean, it was
good.
weird already, but now suddenly, like, the baby elk like comes out of like the ground or something,
Hmm.
and the mom grabs her, and then the surrogate father of Denora comes running forward, and he's like got his gun trained on her, and Denora's just like, no, 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 stop, stop, let her go. Like she's finally returned to the origin point, and now she's ready to move on.
Hmm.
And I'm like sitting here thinking the whole time, like, so if Lewis just would have gone to the site, would this have happened then? Or did they have to go through this huge circle in order for it to be like realized and fulfilled? You know?
See, that's what I wonder too, because it's like her whole purpose was to end the people who ended her calf's chance at life. So it's like, would bringing her physical form back to the massacre, would that have ended it? Would she have killed Lewis at that point, or did all four of them have to die in order for that part of the curse to be over? Like
It
yeah, I've read
seems,
it a few times. I still am not sure,
yeah.
and I think that's a great aspect of a book is it should always have you asking questions at the end.
Right. Yeah. And we don't need a nice,
In this
pretty
case.
bow and
Mhm.
everything to be explained. I think this is actually stronger as almost like a mythic story where
Mhm.
interpretations are left to the individual, and everyone is pretty much valid as long as you're pulling from the lore itself in order to justify your understanding of it. Um, I do love the idea that it took the murder of all those people for her to manifest fully, and then like the people that killed her and her calf, and then it was upon returning to the scene of the crime that she then found her reconstituted, remanifested child,
Mhm.
and that at that moment she was ready to let it all go. Like she was
Yeah.
going to murder Denora 100% if she caught her,
Oh yeah.
until she got to the site and saw her baby elk. Um,
Well, I mean, the thing was, it's like she was already dying by the time that she had her in. Denora, because at that point, her part of the curse was over.
Right.
Like as soon as she killed the last one of them, was it. She was dying. She was on her way out.
Right.
So it was like having, going after Gabe's calf was just sort of like cherry on top if she could pull it off.
Right. There's something like beautiful. I mean, it's horrifying. There's something beautiful about that you're risen to fulfill vengeance, and then you start to seep back into the earth again. So it's almost as if it's not even it. You know what I mean? It's more just karma or cosmic forces at play, or some greater entities at sort of pulling strings, or maybe the guilt wrapped up in those who performed the act in the first place that manifested this entire thing to happen. But once it gets back to the point where, oh yeah, I was a mother. Now I can go on to the beyond with my child, and I'm okay with that. And that it would have, like, with just a itchy trigger finger, could have all turned right back around. I love the simplicity of that.
Yeah, and it is crazy too. Like with her dad, like basically showing off how good of a shot he was, like blocking her out with the gun pointed at her. Like this next one's going home.
Yeah.
It's such a good fucking book.
Oh man, this whole thing. So there's, we sort of mentioned the theme of the Blackfeet culture, the title itself. The only good Indian is a dead Indian. Elk. I only learned about the deer lady from Reservation Dogs, and so it's interesting to see that there is a similar thing with elk in other Native American tribes. That's foreign to me, so I just find it fascinating personally.
Yeah, I mean that's how it'll go with a lot of different tribes. Is you have like animals that are close to deities or relatives. I mean, like fucking Navajos, like horny toads. We call them Che because they're grandpas to us.
Oh,
basically, wow. Like because Che is grandpa in Navajo.
Right. That's cool. Most grandpas are horny toads. That tracks.
100%.
Someone
just normally it's a different kind of horny where you don't throw corn pollen on them and water to bless them. Usually you run screaming and your parents say it's okay, he's from a different time.
It's from a different time.
He still has your underwear.
Oh no. There's themes of violence and womanhood in here, and the afterword I think really landed because I didn't pick it up in the reading. Of course, the elk is the representation of womanhood at the very beginning and stuff, but he was just like, I'm paraphrasing again because I'm just going off of memory, where the author was like, and I just want the women to stop dying. There's something so fucking devastatingly sad. Because when you realize, because a lot of Americans don't know what was done to Native Americans. They don't know that women were forced sterilized them so that they could not have fucking children, so that they could end the culture. That is so evil.
A reality.
That's so fucking evil. Like, and it's real. Well,
plus there's the whole aspect of like, the number one race that is just disappeared and no one gives a fuck about are Indian women.
Right.
Like they disappear constantly and no one gives a flying fuck. Like nobody ever investigates, no one cares, and the majority of the time they were never found ever.
That's so fucked. And there's shows like a season of True Detective covered, I think, this. The idea of just, I think it was in Alaska, those indigenous tribes there, but they were just disappearing and no one gave a fuck. And it was, I can't remember her name right now, but she like spearheaded this whole investigation or something. But anyway, I like that there are dramas being written around this reality so that it can bring awareness that this isn't just a story beat. This is actually happening. And I there's something just so horrifically beautiful about that sentiment. I just want them to stop dying. Like,
Yeah.
fuck
No,
me.
there's a lot of moments in this book that fuck me up. Like I don't do well with animal violence, which I guess I
Yeah.
should warn people if you're gonna read this, sensitive to animal violence, this is definitely gonna fuck your ass up. Like it
There's some
is
pretty good descriptions.
rough. It is like that's probably mostly what gets under my skin and like makes it so I don't go to sleep at night. Um, which is ironic because that's always the dragon that we chase as horror fans.
Yeah.
It happens and oh god. Um,
Yeah.
but oh fuck, where was I going with that? Uh, shit, I just had a total brain fart. I don't remember what the fuck I was
So
leading
you're
up to.
just talking about how the well, now I'm having a fucking brain fart. It was just about the animal violence, that it was so raw, but you still, I'm assuming you were going to a point where
Oh yeah, just warning people. Yeah, it's rough, but it's fucking worth it. Like it's hard because it is very graphic,
Mhm.
but it does pay off. Like it's not just, like, oh, and this dog got shot because now you feel bad.
Yeah.
Like it all had purpose.
What I like about this is it doesn't just feel like a straight horror film where it's just the world itself is unimportant. It's really just the events of the people, and that's the whole hook, like every horror
Mhm.
film ever. It actually feels mythic in scope.
Yeah.
And I think it's because it leans into, in this particular case, the Blackfeet culture, and it really feels submersive within it. And so you just sort of feel like there's more to than what's even being told. There's like layers of depth that from me reading it, I am completely ignorant to, but I feel like it's there. And that makes it so much richer to experience than just watching like a slasher film, for example.
Yeah.
It just feels mythic, is like the best way I can describe it. It's so very, very good.
Yeah. No, I mean I will agree with that completely.
And it is one of those that you were mentioning, but I think at the very beginning, the more you read it, the better it actually gets.
Mhm.
It's one of those that it's worth revisiting. Like you want to revisit it.
Yeah.
And I think that also adds to the strength of the story and the power that the author clearly had in crafting it.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like I love Stephen Graham Jones. I've read probably the vast majority of his novels. He does comics and stuff like that. I haven't gotten in any of those because that's a fucking slippery slope for me. But yeah, and I mean he's fantastic. He's great with everything. Which since we're discussing it right now, I'll tell you right now, if you guys like this, like if you do read this and you like this and you want to stick with the whole Indian mythology horror shit with him, the last book that he released, or I guess not the last one, but the first one he released this year, is the Buffalo Hunter. Fucking killer.
Oh,
Like
really?
it is great. Like this book will always be like my top 10 favorite books of all time. Like I put this right alongside the Lord of the Rings series and the Dark Tower series. Well, I guess that is okay. So top 11 books because that's fucking 10 books right there, not counting the Hobbit. Um, it's fucking amazing. You guys got to read this shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, was there like a favorite moment that you had reading this? I mean, we usually do like favorite,
Yeah.
least favorite when we're doing reviews. What do you think?
So probably one of my favorite parts is the priests, like right before they get into the sweat lodge and during the sweat. Just like that's the kind of shit that like the conversations that Gabe and Cass were having. Like that's how I imagine my dad and my uncles being like as young adults, early 20s, the 30s, shit like that. Like that was a whole level of reality to me that it's just like it was fucking great. And that's that if I would have had kids and stayed somewhere with people like that probably would have been me.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that shit, and even the fact that on his way out, Cass is still being a fucking wise ass. Just like the whole like, oh, I'll take myself out, but like I want to go, like, like the fucking Cheyenne and stuff. Just absolutely love that shit.
Yeah, I think my favorite was Lewis losing his fucking mind and ended
Yeah.
up killing his wife and gutting their child out and seeing an elk baby. That
Yeah.
fucking tore me. I was just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, he's clearly insane. That's where we're going. And then we learn at the end he wasn't actually insane at all.
Yeah. That's the crazy thing, because we don't get that until the final showdown with Denora.
Yeah.
Because it ends with him, fucking bouncing, like he's heading back home. And then when it comes back to, it's Gabe and Cass that are finding out, oh yeah, he got gunned down. They found out in the newspaper or whatever.
Yeah.
And apparently he had a calf with, but nobody can confirm that because nobody found it. So it's like, it gives you that little bit of, was that real? Was it not real? Until you get to the end.
So great. I just loved it so much. Did you have a least favorite moment?
The dog. Like,
That was brutal.
I mean, the shit with the elk, that was sad, but I mean, that's just the reality of hunting.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to wipe out a bunch. But, and then especially to find out, like in the afterward, him talking about how the dog was modeled after his kid's dog, where,
Right.
he never really cared that much about animals. Like, he did, but he wasn't like that kind of person. And then his kid's dog, like, that was his Harley.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that shit with Harley, man, that was hard.
And brutal. I think my least... I don't know that I had like a least favorite. I didn't mind the animal violence. I thought it was earned. Yeah, I really enjoyed this novel. It's just one of those where I thought it would be horror, and it was horror plus.
Yeah.
And, like, you can't get better than that. Like, it's just great, It's its own entity. It doesn't feel derivative, even though it's playing off of, sort of myths of a bunch of different cultures. It still feels original and fresh and horrifying. And I absolutely loved it. So thank you for sending it to me, man. I really do appreciate it.
Glad you dug it.
All right.
We can
So
stay
is there
friends now.
anything else you wanted to talk about with this thing?
No, not really. I mean, we could go on for hours talking about it and the deep complexities of it, but no, it's just, I think we got it. It's worth reading.
Yeah. Definitely thumbs up, people. Go check it out. Chris, you should definitely check it. Jana, hi. Finish the book. What the hell? Do yourself a favor. Or just skip past that part. You know what happens. You don't have to indulge in the description. But after that, it gets fucking crazy good.
Right. And if this might seem a little too rough, check out something else from Stephen Graham Jones. Like, oh my God, hold on. Let me look it up. I don't remember what it's called. I think it's My Life as a Teenage Serial Killer.
Really?
Something like that. But yeah, basically he writes a book about a slasher from the slasher perspective.
What?
And fucking hilarious, fucking brilliant.
Oh, well, all right. I'll have to check that out.
Or just anything that he writes. He's a fantastic author.
I want to read that Buffalo Hunter now.
Yeah, man. It's a killer one.
All right, cool. I might do that one next, actually. Well, thank you for joining me in this review. I'm so very glad we got to do it. And then for those of you out there, if you like horror, check it out. If you like mythology, check it out. And if you really just want to have an interesting, different story to break up the sort of shit you read normally, if you do read, definitely check it out. It's totally worth it.
Yeah, great palate cleanser in between series.
Yeah. For that, thank you all so much for tuning in. As always, like it or not, evil spelled backwards is live. So get out there and be evil.
Oh.
Oh.
I'm a young elder.
I gotta rewatch that series.
Yeah, me too. I keep meaning to start it